Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ISTE Librarians Network, which, for those of you who don't know, ISTE stands for the International Society of Tech Educators, and we are the Librarians Network, and I am the president of the Librarians Network, and my name is Alyssa Malaspina, and I can't even say my name right. And I am so happy that everybody is joining us tonight because we are going to do a recap of what happened at ISTE this year. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite things, what we learned, some of the cool new things we did, and we have a lot of people joining us tonight to help us with this discussion. And hopefully Chad's going to come on in a few minutes and join us too. So I'm going to pass the mic to Nikki, who is president-elect.
Hi, everyone. This is Nikki Robertson, formerly from Alabama, but I just retired this past June, and now I am in Texas getting ready to tackle an elementary school library. So all my elementary peeps out there, please reach out and let's find ways we can collaborate this year. But I'm excited to be here tonight to hear all about ISTE, which was just about a month ago here in Texas. So kind of an exciting new change. And I'm going to throw it on over to Andrew to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about him.
Hey, everybody. I'm Andrew Wallace. I'm a technology director from South Portland Schools in Maine. I am a non-practicing librarian, former librarian, not sure what I call it. I'm still a librarian.
And you're still a librarian, Andrew. You never leave.
And I was asked to come on board to sort of try to represent the school district administration point of view when it pertains to school libraries and how we can keep ourselves vibrant and relevant and moving things forward. And I'll go over to Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Schmidt. I am in, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay. I am in outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I was just saying, 2 weeks from our students starting the new school year, way too early. But so I'm excited. I'm the communications chair, so I'll be trying to tweet out things and tonight, and also looking at the Padlets. And if you have any questions tonight, put the ISTE Lib hashtag, and we will try and answer some of those tonight.
And then let's throw it to April because Chad just went to grab some headphones.
Good evening, everybody. My name is April Wathen. I'm coming to you from our beach house at the Gulf of Mexico this week. Ooh. And I'm a K-5 teacher librarian in Maryland, and I'm the Maryland Association of School Librarians Conference Chair. And ISTE was fantastic, and I can't wait for this group to share some details with you.
Yay! And then we do have Chad here. See, I'll show you the picture of his, oh, look at it, of his background. And a little about him. He will be joining us in a second, so we'll do introductions when Chad comes back. Oh, wait, here comes Chad. Let's see if we can get him. How long can I talk about nothing until Chad comes back?
A very long time.
I can, because I am that good. So Chad, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Chad,
you can hear us. So we'll work in the background on getting Chad up and going.
Yeah, we'll try to get Chad going, but we will continue now.
How about we throw it over to Kathy and let Kathy get that hashtag once again of how you can ask questions or join in the communications comments.
Okay, so just so you all know that we are tweeting out this under our @ISTELib Twitter handle. And if you can either include the @ISTELib Twitter handle or hashtag ISTELib, we will try and answer some questions, or if you have a comment about what your best moment at ISTE was this past year, or maybe you didn't get to go to ISTE and you were sort of the ISTE left behind hashtag and you want to comment on something, go ahead and do that.
So, Chad, can you hear us now? Okay, so while we're waiting for Chad to join us, we will sort of get into it. Nikki, Nikki is the one who is going to wrangle us all in tonight. We have brought Nikki on board mainly for the fact that Nikki can wrangle us in.
So definitely, and Alyssa, I'll let you in the background work with Chad and try to see what's going on there, because we definitely want to hear from him, because he's one of my favorite people in my PLN, besides you and everybody else here. So if you have never been to ISTE, it is an awesome conference that's held each year in the summer, usually the last week of June. And it's one of my favorite conferences to go to. I was moving this summer, so I didn't get to attend this summer. But one thing we wanted to talk about, and if you want to add your own 2 cents to this particular question, is what was your favorite session at ISTE? And it doesn't have to be a formal session, but if it was a formal session, that's great. So we're going to go around to our guests, and we're going to ask them about what their particular favorite session was. And if you want to join that conversation, use that hashtag ISTELib, no S on the end, just lib, ISTELib, or at ISTELib. So I'm going to throw it over to
let's check with Chad.
Okay,
Chad,
let's check with Chad.
Chad,
see if we can hear Chad.
Smoke signals.
Okay, Chad, are you hearing us? Okay.
There we go.
Yay!
Right.
I don't know what was going on. I could not get anything. I had no sound on my laptop. So I just switched to my iPad.
Okay, so Chad,
I think we're good.
Introduce yourself to us and tell us a little about yourself.
All right. My name is Chad Lehman, and I am a middle school library media specialist in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, actually in Bayside, which is the northern suburb of Milwaukee. I just finished my first year in that library, and prior to that, I've spent all of my other library time in elementary libraries. So this is just finished my first year, and it was a lot of fun.
Isn't it fun? I love it.
And okay. Chad just set a great example for us that, it's not a party till your tech doesn't work. And then you just keep trying and you don't give up. And you're that force in the library that's going to help your teachers and administrators to be okay and be cool with challenges that come with using technology, and that quiet, soothing person that's going to say, it's all good, we're going to get this.
And I can't put my nice little banner on the bottom because I'm on my iPad now.
It's okay. It's okay. Andrew almost didn't have his banner either.
Yeah. So what we're doing, Chad, is we have the first question out there, and we've asked for anybody who's listening to us right now to use the hashtag ISTELib or to tag at ISTELib in their comments, and we're talking about what was your favorite session at ISTE this year. And since you're on, Chad, and we can hear you, why don't we start with you, and then we'll pass it on off if you'll just tag somebody else in the group to go after you. So Chad, what was your favorite session?
That's a good question. This year my focus was really spent on doing two things. One, looking for sessions that involved library spaces and what changed those ideas. And then also a lot of stuff related to maker spaces, since
Chad, do you have any links to any of those that you could share out with our audience?
Building ours. So I wanted to learn as much as a couple of different sessions on those things, but I think there were
Did we lose him, or is it me?
Oh, I'm still here. Did I get cut off?
I think that your Wi-Fi is a little hinky, but that's okay. I think we got that your two favorites were library spaces and about maker spaces.
Yeah, that's what I focused. That's what I tried to focus the most on this year in different sessions and conversations with people.
Excellent. And if you have any links that were shared during ISTE that you think the ISTE Lib audience would like to know about, either you can put it in the chat box and Kathy or April will tweet those out, or if you want to tweet them out yourself, that'd be awesome. And that way, those of us who weren't there or didn't attend those particular sessions can learn from you as well.
Okay.
So
great.
who do you want to tag next to talk about their favorite session?
We can go with Andrew.
All right.
Andrew.
All right. I'm ready. Nikki gave me permission, all of us permission really, to talk about sessions that maybe weren't so formal sessions. And I will say one of the better events of my time spent there was actually at the ISTE Lib social that we had at the Hard Rock Cafe. And it was so amazing just to sit down and look to the person to the left of me, the person to the right of me. And we've got like magazine editors and leaders of amazing makerspace movements and librarians I've known online for years, and being able to connect with those people in person. And, you know, the conversations were so rich and so deep. And I know we can have wonderful conversations online, but I would encourage everybody that gets out to ISTE to make an effort to come to these social events, because I learned so much and made so many amazing connections in just a quick hour and a half that informed what sessions I went to the next day, or what I looked at, what products I looked at, and then people I can hook up with to discuss or opportunities to collaborate. So I highly encourage you to get involved with those social events. Extend your day and extend your learning.
I agree. I agree.
I do too.
All right. Who are you going to tag, Andrew?
I'm going to go with April.
Hey there. Thanks, Andrew. So you mentioned products, and that's something that I would mention to anyone who's not been to ISTE, is you have to go to the vendor area. And the top 3 vendors in my book, they're the big ones that we're reaching out to all of us as librarians, I feel like, and anyone in education, was, of course, Google and Microsoft and Apple. And one of my favorite sessions was Apple's I See What You Mean. And a website that I would direct you to is cast.org. And it reminds us all of universal design for learning and how we need to make learning accessible to everybody. So vision impairments, how are we reaching them? And auditory impairments, how are we reaching them? And in their session, they were talking about the research on how kids prefer picting versus writing, which is them throwing emojis into their writing, which, you know, some of us kind of feel like maybe that's not what they should be doing, but we need to meet kids where they are, right? And so an app that Apple released just recently is called Clips. It's free and it's fantastic because we're using our students as creators, which is what we want them doing with technology. And another app that we learned about was Storyboard That, also to allow
I love
students,
that.
yeah, right, to be creators.
Yeah. And so, April, you're going to hopefully tweet those out for everybody under the ISTE Lib hashtag so that everybody can get them, because I already, like, I'm, like, interested in a number of them myself after hearing about it.
Sounds great.
So it's your turn to tag somebody else.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to tag Kathy, please.
Okay, if it's okay, can I just jump in real quick about Storyboard That?
Yeah.
The people behind the people that are behind Storyboard That are incredible as far as any support, things like that. And it's also the same company that put together photosforclass.com, which is an incredible site for finding free copyright images for school projects. So
I didn't know that.
They're wonderful.
Website. So Chad, you better tweet out that website, because I didn't know that one either.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
And if you put the ISTE Lib hashtag, I will retweet it under
I will too.
Okay.
ISTE Lib.
Okay, so Kathy, it is your turn.
So my favorite, I mean, one of my favorites every year is the playgrounds. The librarian playground this year, and even though as part of the ISTE Lib team, I was running around helping Alyssa do things, and I learned so much from different people, different companies there that we had. You know, Heather Lister did a session that was great, and there was somebody there from I'm trying to think of the name of the company now, but I just went through all my ISTE kind of stack of stuff I came home with, and I always think that the playground is a great place, and just to spend a couple hours there, because there's so many different people presenting, and every hour there's someone different. I've gone to the digital storytelling playground that's really good, and the distance learning one, which I missed this year because I had an early flight on Wednesday morning, and unfortunately it's usually the same time as our breakfast, but I do a lot of distance learning as far as video webcasts and connecting with different museums and doing live, almost like webinar kind of things with classes. And the Mariners Museum is a great place, and they're always at the ISTE, the playground, the digital, the remote learning playground, and NASA. Past year I did one with NASA, and I never would have known about some of these things if I hadn't gone to one of those playgrounds. The other thing, like April said, the vendor booths.
Yeah.
Mackin had some great stuff going on. Capstone, I learned about their new program, which I'm actually going to pilot, I think, here in Georgia. And another one, so here's a perfect example of going and meeting vendors. I have heard, we all know, I'm trying to think what the name of it is now. But a vendor that I really thought I went from, like Chad, I went from elementary school and ended up in middle school this past year, and was looking at this and going, I think it's a little too elementary. Well, at one of the poster sessions, I was talking to someone, and she was doing a poster session on a PBL project she had done, and they had used Buncee, and I thought, oh, are you sure that's not too elementary? And she said, no, I use it with my middle school kids. They present. Well, then I went and saw the Buncee people. Got a cool little fan.
That was good.
But I said, you know what, I'll be honest with you. I've seen Shannon Miller talk about it, and I really thought it was just for elementary. And they're like, no, we have lots of middle schools. So now I'm looking more into that to possibly use that this year in my middle school. So okay. And then I guess, Alyssa, you're next.
Oh, good. I'm next. Wow. Okay, so there were so many great sessions, and one of my favorites, there's actually two of my favorites, and I didn't make it to one, and I do tell people that it's worth coming in early to do this, is the it's like the hackathon at, what is it called? Why am I blanking on the name of it?
Mobile Mega Share.
Well, there's a Mobile Mega Share, which is my total, it is honestly one of my favorite events of ISTE. And it happens on a Saturday.
The Hack Education, right?
Yeah, the Hack Education event also happens on Saturday too. And both of those are just really great events. And the Mobile Mega Share, this is my second year going, and every year I learn 7 or 8 new tools that I had never seen before. And you get to really sit down for 30 to 40 minutes and play with the tools, and a lot of times meet with either the creators of them. Like we were meeting with the Makey creator, and he was telling us how to do things, and if not, you're meeting with people who use the product often, and you get a really good idea on how to use it in your classroom and in your library. And it's a really great event, and I love that event. It's one of my favorites that I tell people get into and come. This year there wasn't even that many people there, and I think part of it was there was a weather delay and there was airport issues, but honestly, worth coming early just to go to that.
And Alyssa, let me stop you there for just one second, if you would, please. What tips do you have for first-time ISTE goers on deciding which days to go? Because it's kind of overwhelming. You're saying go Saturday, and it ran through Thursday, right?
No, I know, and it's overwhelming, but I seriously say come in on Saturday morning early or Friday night early, and stay through at least Wednesday, afternoon. This time I stayed to Thursday, and I was happy I stayed to Thursday because Wednesday afternoon, I got to decompress a little. You're so busy, you don't always get to go like see the city or anything you're doing. And so both Sunday morning, I got to be a little touristy, and you know, a few of us went on one of the boats rides through San Antonio, and on Wednesday afternoon, we got to do that too. And those are things that you don't get to do when the conference is in full swing, because usually you're just like, I want to go to this session, I want to go to that session, there's this party, you know, and you're just so busy that you never get to like see where you are. So I highly recommend, if you can, coming in on the Saturday or the Friday night.
I would agree for sure.
Yeah, and then staying until like the Thursday, because then the airport's a little easier to get out on because it gets really crowded. It's worth it to have that little downtime and to hang out with, you know, because to be honest with you, I went to some good sessions. I went to a really good session that Hal Davidson did on using AI in your libraries.
That was awesome.
It was really good. And it is like, got me thinking. So I literally have like emailed with Britton Follett, and we are, you know, and I'm talking to Follett people because we have to figure out a way that Alexa can say that we can have the kids walk into the library and be like, you know, Alexa, do we have this book? And, you know, in Destiny, and it says, yes, it's at, you know, certain area, because how much time would that save us as librarians? Like, so I am determined to work with Follett and make this happen. And you know what,
Alyssa and I went to that, we sat next to each other, and we're listening to Hall, and and we're both like, wait, we could do that. Yeah. And the two of us, you know, we are from very different libraries and very different areas, but the two of us like, yeah, we should be able to do it. Well, we're, you know, I mean, the two of us were collaborating, sitting in that session, trying to figure out how. So I'm going to let Alyssa figure it out and then share with me. No.
Well, we're going to make it work. I'm still determined that I think Follett could do this, and let the Follett people design it and like bring it to market. But I think that they can make this happen. So Follett, I'm calling you out here because we will make this happen. I'm determined. But, you know, like that really just that one session got me thinking like, oh my God, you know, I didn't really think of how can Alexa be used in a classroom and a library like it is. So, you know, there's stuff like that you don't always get to go to if you don't take the time and do that. But I will say I didn't make it to nearly as many sessions as I had on my list, but I did spend a lot of time connecting with people that I haven't seen in a while, talking to people, you know, that about events and going, you know, connecting at socials and other things that I did get a lot out of the conference, but maybe not has hit as many sessions as I would have liked to.
All right, I do have one question, and a few of you might be able to answer this. It's from Pia, P-I-A, I hope I'm saying that right. How do you balance your excitement about new tools and apps with restrictions about student privacy? And Andrew might be an expert on this, actually.
Yeah, Andrew, you're probably the best person to answer that.
It's a great question, and I'm actually replying to Pia right now. But I'm a member of a group called the Student Data Privacy Consortium that originated out of the Cambridge Public Schools in Massachusetts, and really just around this sort of idea. And what we have to do as school administrators and eager librarians and teachers is balance student safety with the fear of curtailing innovation. So you really need to have good policies in place that help protect students and teachers and us when we sign kids up for new services. But you don't want to stifle innovation, so you don't want to make the process onerous. One of the things that does make the process onerous is when I have to go out and research, you know, does XYZ widget or this new online tool meet my privacy standards? And imagine, just extrapolate that out. How many schools are doing that individually? So as we as districts and school districts and states can work together and ask the same questions and have similar standards, not identical standards, but similar standards, whereby these companies, a lot of whom are startups, and they're not even aware of FERPA or HIPAA or any of the other privacy concerns that we have, can sign on and agree to basic agreements. So I encourage everybody to check out the Student Data Privacy Consortium, and I'll link that out. Another amazing example is the Cambridge Public Schools, where they have, listed many people's privacy terms. And the other exemplar in my mind is the Denver Public Schools, who are responding to perhaps one of the most stringent privacy laws in the country. So if they can make it work, anybody can make it work. I highly encourage people to check those resources out. And the last thing too is, as librarians, one of the things we're really good at is we're good at bibliographies, right? So if we tell the story about why we want to use these resources, and we write up the blurbs rather than just a list of all these, 120 apps, we really can tell the story about the value of the resources, and parents will be more likely to want their kids to participate. And so when they know the value of things like Google tools or Seesaw or any of the tools that we're putting in our schools and why we're doing it, you'll have more participation. So check out those links. I'll send them out pretty soon.
I also always do things when I was a tech director for a year. So I highly recommend if you have the ability to write policy or to do it, to send home notices to parents, write it in a way where it's like, we use these tools like Google Classroom, like Edmodo, like, YouTube on air and stuff like that, to connect with people. And like Andrew said, explain why we are using these tools. Don't list every tool, but give people, we use tools that do that. So that way you're not like narrowing things where you're making it to the point where, well, you didn't list, such and such a tool and you used it in your classroom. Make it in a way, and also, if possible, in your policies, do it in a way where it is like opt out instead of opt in.
Yes.
It's always better to be like, we would rather, we use all these tools, and if you have any issues with them, please let us know, instead of sign this permission slip and bring it back. It just makes it easier for everybody, because parents get 100 forms at the beginning of the year. They don't always bring them back, and we don't want to leave a kid out from using something. So as much as you can do that too. And I know that sort of went off topic a little, but I sort of hope that it did that, because, and I have to tell you that almost every company, especially ones that are in the ed tech field, talk to them, they will tell you, they'll be like, hey, we didn't think of this, or, oh, thank you for letting us know. Most of that, they'll get back to you and talk to you and be like, usually they want to work with educators.
Jumping on that one, Alyssa, we have Comar in Maryland, which, is our state's privacy business there. And every company that we've sent a Comar compliance form to has sent it back very happily. Yeah.
Okay, so are we on our next question?
We are. So I wasn't at ISTE, but one of my takeaways when I do attend ISTE is the informal conversations that you can have. And I think we mentioned those earlier, that, coming early, the Hack Get is more kind of like an ed camp, more informal than the formal sessions. And going to the librarians' playgrounds, a little more formal, but still not as formal as a session itself. Going through that vendor areas and going to the socials, that's where I get a lot of my learning. That's where I come away with those big aha ideas.
Yeah.
And if you don't attend ISTE, you can always use that hashtag and follow what's happening at ISTE. So if you're there at ISTE, use the hashtag, tweet out all the cool things that you're learning so that others can learn with you. But if you're not there, follow that ISTE hashtag. So with thoughts about that, let's piggyback on what April said earlier. What are some of your top tips for those new to ISTE? When I first was going to go to ISTE, Gwyneth Jones was like, bring like protein bars and water bottles and tennis shoes because you will be walking and all over the place. So quickly, what are some of your tips for those new to ISTE? And
Okay.
Alyssa?
Okay, I gave one or two. I'm going to throw in some more. Yes, water bottle is good. I don't bring, like, I have got, and this is me because I lose my water bottles. I put stuff down everywhere and I lose it like constantly. And then I get mad because I just spent $15 on that water bottle. So I always, like, when after I leave the, in the airport, or when I get to where I'm going, I buy the like big thing of water bottle, the plastic one, and I just fill that up for the remainder of the time, because if I lose it, which is inevitable that I do, that I don't feel so bad about it. So that's like my like little bit of tip. But yeah, comfy shoes. Nobody at ISTE judges you on your shoe wear, because we all are walking around like crazy. Oh, and my rolling bag is like my favorite thing in the world, because I can't carry around a backpack. And dude, you're making like almost 20, 30,000 steps a day if you're, so anything that you can do to make that to have that happen.
Yeah.
And also go to as many things where you can get free food from.
That's true.
I think the goal is always, because if you sign up for ISTE, like, and you sign up ahead of time and you register, a lot of times look in your spam mail and stuff. There's companies that will do like, come and demo our product and, get a free lunch so, my goal is always to try to, not pay very much for food during the event.
That's true. You don't have to really pay for food if you hit up those vendors and go to their things. I also know people who bring an extra suitcase just for the things that you get from the vendors there as well.
Yeah, big suitcase.
Yeah, who do you want to tag next, Alyssa?
I'm going to tag Kathy.
Okay. I was just going to say, I remember Diana Rendina last year. She was the one they told me about, because I was trying to shove all my stuff in Denver in one suitcase and it would not fit. I actually had to go out right before I left to buy some kind of bag to check, because I had acquired somehow a bunch of little bits. I had won a Bloxels kit. So I had a lot of great stuff I was bringing back to put in my makerspace, and I had no room. And so Diana said, "Oh, I always pack a bag that she can put in her suitcase and then take out, and and if you fly Southwest, you get 2 bags for free." So that is something I did this year. I actually had enough room in my suitcase this year, but the water bottle, definitely, I did bring my own. That was huge. I know I should not wear cute shoes, and every year I do, and every year I come home on the plane with massive blisters, because you, as Alyssa said, you walk so much. The other thing would be, I was lucky in my new position. My principal actually had business cards made for me. But if you don't, it's a great thing to have for the vendor area, or even people you meet.
Yeah.
You might start a great conversation at a social event or at the playground, and you're like, "Oh, I'd love to connect with you during the year. I'd love to connect our students." Having a business card, I know. I at one point got Moo cards, which are usually the first time you get them, there's a coupon or something. They're very inexpensive, and just put your contact information. Basically, your most important thing to me is your Twitter account, your email address somewhere, and if the Moo cards, I had ordered them. I actually put my school name, and then a year later I moved schools, so they kind of. So I think if I do some next time, I'll just put my Twitter handle, which isn't going to change, my email address, which isn't going to change, on there, and then. But that's always a good thing to have.
And even a super cheap way of doing that, if you don't want to order the business cards, I've seen a lot of people use address labels, and they just print out address labels and have that ready to go on whatever vendor thing they have for entering prices and so forth. It saves you a lot of time writing that information over and over and over again. All right, Kathy, who do you want to tag?
I will tag Chad.
All right. I think some advice that I would have is you definitely want to plan out some sessions that you want to go to. So I would say the week before, download the app, mark the sessions that you want to go to, but more importantly, be flexible that if you're in a conversation with somebody and you don't leave to go to that session if what you're doing is great, because those informal sessions are great. And then also just keep in mind that you might get to a session, and it happened to me, and it was full. So kind of have a plan B of, okay, this is kind of the one I want to go to, and if I can't get into it, it's not the end of the world. Oftentimes you can follow on Twitter. You might be able to find a link to the presentation, or, someone who's tweeting about it. So that way you can, sort of participate without being there. So I think those are a couple of things. And again, like you said, you're walking a ton. So just be ready for that. I agree about the vendor parties. It's a great way to, you can sometimes hit 2 or 3 up in a night, because one will be 3 to 5, one will be 4 to 6, one will be, you can kind of do that. So, and I think as you go, even after the first day, like, holy cow, it's like a fire hose of information, being sprayed at you.
Yeah.
Just, you will miss stuff, and that's okay. Don't be like, oh my God, I really wanted to go to this, and, it didn't work out. And just know that you'll still get the information, or, it just might not be at that exact time. So I think those are probably a couple of things that I've kind of learned over the years.
And I look too, Chad, after ISTE, for people writing blogs about their takeaways. That's where you can get a lot of that information as well, instead of just searching through the hashtag. So I have like an alert, so to alert me that there's something new that has been written about ISTE, and that's where I can gather.
And I use TweetDeck. So I have a ISTE column, and I'm still checking it, because there's still a few things that occasionally come through. So don't just think that once you get back from ISTE, whether that's Wednesday or Thursday, or, some people who might even stay a little bit later, that things will end, because people, like you said, people are sharing out their reflection posts, and they're still tagging it with the hashtag. So you can still pick up on a lot of things well after the conference officially ends.
Yeah. Search out for that. Who do you want to tag, Chad?
Let's see who hasn't chatted yet here.
Andrew and April, I think.
Right,
Did
April?
Andrew go?
Yep.
No,
April,
Andrew.
why don't you go?
Okay.
What's that?
April, you're up.
All right. Thank you, Chad. So piggybacking off of something you said, picking some backup sessions just in case. I also recommend the rule of 2 feet. If you get in a session that you're not really keen on, politely get up and leave, right? It's okay to do that. Something that some of you may not agree with me on is going solo. I left Maryland and went to ISTE on my own as a first timer. Did my research ahead of time. And of course, met up with some virtual PLN folks, but I felt like it was an achievement to conquer ISTE on my own. But meeting up with people in the evening also was helpful to kind of debrief and rehash, what happened during the day, and sharing our ahas. And it was pretty powerful stuff. The other thing I recommend, I know there are 2 camps on this. Take your time, hit a few sessions, go have lunch, explore the city. But I wasn't there for that. I was there to really dig in and see what I could get. So I had a backpack full of, not full of, but protein bars and snacks that other folks had recommended, like Diana and some other folks who had blogged on this before. And I found it very helpful, because the lines were super long for food at the convention center. And it was not a very nice variety of food.
No.
What I thought. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And there are those 2 camps, and you just had to decide what camp you're in for that year, and it can change from year to year. And
you know what? And I agree with you too. It's totally up to you. Like, I just know that my personality, how I am, I get overwhelmed at times with the crowd, with the people, with everything. So I need to take a little time during my day to try to relax and to get away for a little bit, so that I can come back and recharge and be okay. So, my goal is always to try to take a little time during the day to just be by myself, or to calm down, because it's so energy, you're so going. But other people,
that's the perfect segue into Andrew's tag, because he was talking about the powerful learning at the PLN that takes place
Yeah, there you go.
at the lounge.
Interestingly, like I'm not one to miss many meals. So I would say this though, so what you're talking about, April, is dead on. And so I actually try to eat at really odd times. So like I'll have my lunch at 10. I do need a little bit of space too. So I'll have my lunch at 10 or 1:30, and I'll go off site too. You know, if you wander maybe 2 blocks off site, you're far likely, you're not going to wait in that line, and you're going to maximize your time on the vendor floor or in the sessions. And then going back to something that Chad had mentioned earlier, which is coming back from ISTE and how the learning continues. Sometimes when, if you're an administrator or someone that they perceive has money to spend, you're going to be inundated with emails. Even if you don't have a nickel or 2 nickels to rub together, people are going to be all over you. So one thing I recommend is trying to take a little time, maybe on the flight home or before you get on that flight, to sort through the business cards. Like, I'm going to talk to again, you know, this is something I wasn't really interested in, because you're going to get flooded. And I know it sounds kind of trivial, or maybe even like rude, but not really rude, but do yourself a favor and write a courteous, thanks for emailing me. This is probably not something we're going to pursue. And then just copy, cut, and paste that, because you're going to get probably, oh God, I don't think I've got maybe 80 emails. Because I look at a lot of products and I talk to a lot of people, and most of them are not something that's going to work out. You know, you find 5 or 6 things that you might put into practice when you get back to work. And those are the people you want to spend your time following up on, because you're going to be mass emailed when you put your business card or they scan your badge. And that's great. And we're all going to find 1 or 2, 5 hits that will lead to some productive partnerships, but not all of them will. Just get ready for that flood.
That is such a beautiful tip. I do the same thing. I come back immediately and figure out who I really connected with and which products I think we can use purposefully, and get rid of the rest.
Yeah. And I think we're on to the next question.
Yeah, and this is going to be our last question, because believe it or not, we have just a little over 15 minutes left. It's gone really fast. So the last question is, what are you implementing now or plan to implement this upcoming school year based on something you learned at ISTE? And Alyssa, I see you're like, oh, I
got it. So actually, there are like 2 things. My kids are going crazy. I just happened to be on the vendor floor, like it was like the last day, and I finally made it down to the vendor floor, and I walked by this one table, and it's called CoSpaces, and it's virtual. It's where kids can make virtual reality and, 3D virtual reality type, spaces, and they can code it. You can code in it, and you can do all these things. And like in 5 minutes, they sort of showed me how to do it. And I was like, okay, I have tech camp. I have my kids coming for tech camp because we run a tech camp. I'm just going to throw that out there. Well, my kids are in love with it. I mean, they are making these incredible virtual spaces and they're using the Google Cardboard to look at them. And I mean, we have elementary kids, so like people are like, I don't know if the elementary kids can do it. No, I have 3rd graders doing this, okay? I have 3rd graders and I have 8th graders doing it. And they're just really, really into it. So if you have not seen CoSpaces, and they have like a free account that you can use for a little bit, look at it, because it's been really good for my kids. And the other one that has been really awesome is Sam Labs. We have been using them with our students, and they are in love with it. They're like little bits, but sort of on steroids, and they're made in a way that is stronger and less indestructible, or more indestructible, sorry, than and the kids can code them and connect them. They're all Bluetooth enabled and Bluetooth wired, and you can make them do all these things. And the company is just the sweetest guys from England. They've already Skyped with my students and helped them do projects. And, they have been really great to work with. And I'm just like loving their product. And and my students are really, really loving the product and are making some incredible little, you know, we've got pinball machines going. We have a little car that they're making that's got like a hitter thing on the front. If you know, check out my Twitter account, because on Thursday they'll be showing off their little projects they've made. So you'll get to see some of the cool things that have been made in CoSpaces and in using Sam Labs. But those were sort of two of my like coolest takeaways, or stuff that my kids have been really, really like loving.
So Alyssa, will you either tweet out those links or in the chat put those links in so April or Kathy can put those in the Twitter?
I will do that right now.
Who do you want to tag next to tell about what
I will tag April.
April.
Thank you. I'm like busting at the seams. I'm going to go really fast and very few details. I would completely recommend Jenny Maguiera's Courageous Adventures. She was our keynote and one of our keynotes, and absolutely fantastic. So that's your teacher fulfillment there. Google's Be Internet Awesome. I'm very excited about using that for digital citizenship this year. We have Safe and Secure Online with the Center for Cyber Safety and Education. I will tweet these out for details, but that's using Garfield to teach the younger crowd about internet safety. Nikki, that might be something you enjoy, which most people probably are familiar with, but they're running a little bit of a special. I'm going to ask them if I can tweet out the code on that. And probably one of my most favorite things I learned from one of the vendors was the Wonder Workshop. They now have curriculum. It's K-5 Learn to Code curriculum. It's $99 for the year. And they also have some really cool challenge cards to use with Dot and Dash, and they're $39 for the year. I mean, $39 for good. You buy a set and you're good to go. So those are my must shares.
Awesome. Great list. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And I'm going to tag, let's see, Kathy, are you ready to play?
Oh, yep. Sorry.
Okay.
I actually, someone I met at the Mobile Mega Share, she runs a company in Savannah, Georgia, and I don't know her company's name, and she did stuff with PBL, and with she did some cards called, and I will get the exact name of her company, but I met with her today actually, and we are hoping to be able to work together. We are a STEAM middle school, and we do, all of our grade levels do PBL. They do 4 PBL units a year, and so she does a lot with doing formative assessment with PBLs. The product that she had at the Mobile Mega Share were these cards that kind of had little challenges on them, or they were cards that if you were doing a PBL, you could choose one, like how would you share your PBL or things like that. It's hard to explain, but I happened to meet with her today. That's one of the things that the takeaway from that. The other thing is, like I mentioned before, Buncee. I really want to start using that. Like I said, I met with somebody during a poster session from Florida, and she was doing a PBL unit with gardening. So I'm hopefully going to actually connect my students with her students, but I want to start trying to understand how we can use Buncee in, and I hope I'm saying that right, in with our PBL projects at our school. This is our second year of our school being open, and we learned a whole lot about doing PBL on a very large scale last year, and so hopefully this year will be better, and hopefully we can use some of those things, you know, in that. So those are a couple of things I want to do this year. And
I just need to interrupt for a second, because my son is listening and is saying, "Mom, I have to throw it out to the Buncee people. They were kind enough to give my son a little fan, because I explained to them about what my son had done, and they were so kind, and they were really nice. And his little fan broke. So if the Buncee people, I know, and he was so upset because he was like, "Not my fan, it's my favorite little thing." So Funsy people, I'm going to throw it out there for you. You want to send me another little fan? I would, you know, you would make Matthew's day.
Stop begging for props. April, who are you going to throw it to?
Actually, I think I was going to throw it. It looks like Chad's offline again. Internet
Yeah,
issues
he's
there.
there, just off video, so his sound works better, I believe.
I'm here.
Chad, are you there? Okay.
Yep. I want to investigate Raspberry Pi a little bit more. Made a connection. I've kind of known him for a few years, Nick Provenzano, who does a ton of stuff with Raspberry Pi, and he's actually moving next year or this coming year to a new middle school where he's going to be doing a lot of stuff with the makerspace there. So I talked with him about trying to figure out some ways once he gets settled and I get settled to connect our kids doing some things with Raspberry Pi. Also want to do a little bit more with Little Bits. We've got a couple of the kits, but I saw the new student. I know that all the kits have different names, but I think it's the student code kit that has a little LCD panel. So I want to take a look at that. And then I also heard, and this wasn't confirmed by the Wonder Workshop people, but apparently sometime in September, they're going to be coming out with a middle school robot and some programming stuff for that. So they've got Dash and Dot for the elementary kids. Apparently there's a middle school robot coming out, I think sometime in September. So I'm going to kind of keep an eye out for that and see what that's going to look like.
I knew there was a reason why I hadn't bought them yet.
Chad, I am a Raspberry Pi certified educator, so
awesome.
I have to put out a little thing for you and say that, like, if you are interested at all, try to go throughout the year. Go, you know, they have signups for Pi Academy. It's really not hard to apply for it. They're looking for librarians to apply because usually it's just tech people or computer teachers or stuff like that, and they want more librarians to be a part of it.
Okay.
So apply, and I'm saying this to all librarians, apply for Pi Academy. I learned so much from Pi Academy, and what's great is you become part of a community of like other Pi Academy people. So like I had a question the other day because we have kids that are coding in Raspberry Pi, and you know, I put it out there, and you know, the creators of Raspberry Pi and others are like, here's how you do it, type of thing.
Nice.
So, you know, Pi Academy, if you can, you know, I highly recommend it for people.
And Andrew, did you get a chance to share what you want to implement this coming school year?
Yeah, I'll do a couple plus ones. One is on Wonder Workshop with their new curriculum pieces, the stuff they came out with last year, the challenges. I observed the number of our schools and students really engaged in those things. And sometimes when you're building out your makerspace or other sort of library add-ons or enhancements, people think, you know, what are these little robots running around? They're like tripping hazards or something. And, you know, when Wonder Workshop did a great job of connecting that to some more purposeful pursuit of robotics. Not that, you know, educational play is critically important, but sometimes when you're trying to convince people to give you thousands of dollars, connecting it to other standards can be important. And I love how they have the requirement that the students film and then reflect on their achievements and their struggles in the process. So adding that ELA, that blogging, that reflection process really takes it to the next level and will help you win over people that are skeptical. So Wonder Workshops to me has been leading the way. In general, I saw other companies doing similar things. So I saw a trend toward that. I think the maker folks know that when they want to spread their wings and be properly funded, they have to make those more purposeful connections. So that was definitely one I really enjoyed. And another company that I think has really should be looked at closely by librarians, especially as a bridge for some more traditional librarians. And I know some of our librarians are very progressive, but I would highly recommend a company called Scribble. And they do a really nicely integrated Google Docs research markup citation tool that really is like Evernote meets, you know, some sort of amazing classification system. So I wish I had that when I was doing grad school or teaching college or things of that nature. It was just an amazing tool that I think folks should take a peek at.
Awesome.
If anyone has any questions about Scribble, I piloted it this year, and our county, which we're a very large county, for our school district, we are adopting it this year, the paid version of it, because there is a free version, there's a paid version, and so it's awesome. I really like it. I think it's very easy. It's single sign-on if your kids have Google accounts, and they don't need an email account. But you can also, if you don't have Google accounts, they also do Microsoft. Is it Microsoft 365 and sign on? And also, like, some of our schools don't have Google accounts or Microsoft accounts, so they're able to sign on kind of through the teacher, the librarian, through their email address. So, and the two guys who do it, who run the company, they are really listening. I had a conference call with them last week, and they are really listening to librarians, like what we need, what we want as far as citation and note taking. And I second Andrew on, I wish I had had it at grad school to do APA.
So real quick, Kathy, we have about 4 minutes before the show ends, and I've got a question for you and then a question for Alyssa, and then any final thoughts we want to share. So the resources that have been mentioned on the show tonight, where will somebody who's interested in going back and finding those resources, where's the convenient place they can go besides looking through the Twitter feed? Are those going to be on the ISTE Lib website at a later time?
I could put our tweets together somehow and have Sherry, who's not joining us tonight because she is working, but I can have Sherry put it up on the website underneath our all the information that was on tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we try to store it?
Add it to the Padlet?
We could. We can try. Yeah, we'll try to put it on the Padlet that we have, and we'll try to storify it or something. The tweets,
and then
so that people can grab it.
And then Alyssa, the question for you, or if you want to pass it off to somebody else, where can people connect? What social media, etc.? How can they connect throughout the year with the ISTE Lib team and other people who are part of ISTE Lib?
So there's lots of ways. We are very, very accessible. We have the ISTE Librarians Network Facebook page. So you can connect with us there. We are we're over 1,000 people right now, and I'm very excited about that. We keep adding more people. So, connect with us there. Connect with us using the ISTE Lib hashtag on Twitter. We have the Librarian Network communities as part of ISTE, and Andrew is the god of question and answer for the librarians community. So if you have a question there, you can contact us through that. Any of us, we have the Facebook page, we have our Twitters, we're very accessible. Like I'm the president, my Twitter is right there. Tweet me, email me, find me. I will answer your questions as much as possible. But we have lots of different ways that you can contact us within ISTE, but without too, because we know some people aren't part of the ISTE, but we'd like to be open as possible for everybody.
And Kathy and April probably can tweet out the link to that ISTE Lib website that will have then those links on there. Is that correct, Alyssa? Correct. To the Facebook and the Twitter.
Yes.
So we'll go ahead and tweet that out again tonight. And then we have about 1 minute, 2 minutes left for a real quick final word from everyone. And since Andrew went last time, I'm going to start with him this time. So just a quick final word. Oh, unmute. Oh, hey, you muted again.
Andrew.
Testing you all. Again, I would just say, do what you can to get to these events. Chicago next year, a little more centrally located, cheaper flights. Book your hotels now.
Yeah.
Because they're not cheaper hotels.
Yeah.
And then, find some friends to go with and maybe rent a Airbnb and have a little party house or something.
Yeah, Airbnb with friends. All right, April.
We did that.
Just quickly, I think what I would push out, this was not something we discussed, but Mark Ray was there, of course, on behalf of Future Ready librarians. And I would just say to anyone listening to this who is a librarian, loves libraries, your school does not have to be a Future Ready school in order for you to embrace the Future Ready movement. So please jump on board and join us.
Agree. Chad,
Agree.
I think just jump in and get involved, whether you're connecting on Twitter or if Facebook's your thing or whatever. Just get connected with people, and it's the easiest way and best way to learn. And if you do that now over the next few months, when ISTE rolls around in Chicago next year, you're going to know a whole bunch of people when you get there, and it's going to be a great experience.
All right. Thank you, Chad. Kathy.
Kind of going with Chad. I went to my first ISTE a couple years ago, and I felt like I knew people because I connected with them. Either I Skyped with them for Dot Day, or I Skyped with them for Poetry Month, or things like that. And I felt when I finally met these people in person, like, oh, wow, I know you. And it made the conference that much more, I think just more having those conversations and having people introduce you to, this person and this person and that, And so definitely make sure, don't ever be scared to tweet someone like Alyssa and like, hey, I heard you on the webinar the other day. Alyssa's a real person. She may have almost 10,000 followers, but
I'm not at 10,000 yet.
Right, so if you don't follow Alyssa, please follow her. But make sure that you know that all the people here and Nikki and we all have our kind of moments where we're like, oh my God, they're look at who that is. She's a rock star. But if you connect with them, I mean, some of my best learning, to be honest with you, and I preach this in my county. We have a lot of professional development within my county. And I say, you know what? My best professional development comes from my PLN and following people and going to ISTE and connecting with people that aren't in my same situation, and it helps you grow. So.
And I'm going to let Alyssa have the last word, but real quick, my takeaway is piggybacks on Kathy as well, but reach out during the year, get involved with those social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Find people on there to connect and collaborate with, and stop teaching in isolation, stop having your kids be in isolation, work with others. And with that said, Alyssa, I'm going to let you have your final say and sign us off for the evening.
I'm going to go really quick. Go to these conferences, use Twitter, use Facebook, find your tribe, because it is out there and we are here and accessible. And like what Kathy said, none of us, please don't feel like you can't approach any of us. We are totally all approachable. And sometimes we're fun to hang around with. So, come in and do that. And we will answer your questions and we will connect with you. So find us and connect with us throughout the year. And we're going to be doing other webinars and different things so that you can get some more information throughout the year about sort of what's going on in ISTE and just in general, because the ISTE Librarian Network believes in helping everybody and not just those members that are part of ISTE, because we believe in, that all librarians can benefit from some PD, because we're usually the only ones in our school. So we will hopefully have another webinar in the next coming month, maybe not August. We're not positive yet. We'll get back to you, but surely by September. So we will talk to you guys soon. And it was great. And thank you, everybody who joined us.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. I'm going to stop the broadcast now.